and thanks for joining me today for some Yogalates today, a combination of yoga and Pilates. I'm still sticking with the festive theme, but I was unable to source a Christmas hat. There was no Christmas hats anywhere in St Andrews yesterday, but I did manage to find some Christmas glasses. So we'll see how long those stay on for. Let's start. So we're just going to start in our normal way with some mobility. I'm sitting in a kneeling position, but if this is uncomfortable for you, then feel free to maybe pop a cushion between your calves and your thighs, or kneel on a cushion, or you don't have to even be in a kneeling position. So if you are, or whatever position you're in, let's start with that lift and length through the spine. So the sit bones are sitting comfortably around the heels, and we've got length with the string coming from the top of our head, drawing us up towards the ceiling. Start to lift the shoulders up, back and down. Slide them in towards the spine to create that stability, a little pinch between the shoulder blades. The light connection into the core, the zip down a third of the way up, and the belt down to the third notch. We're going to start with some release for the shoulders with some box shoulder shrugs. So we're going to lift the shoulders up, back, down, and then forward, up, back and down. So we're making a square shape with the shoulders, just for a little change from the shoulder circles. Still has the same purpose, which is to mobilize the shoulders gently before we start. And let's just do one more of these box shrugs. And then allow the shoulders come back into a neutral position. Making small circles with the chin, so in the shape first of all of a small saucer. Inhaling, exhaling, small saucer, and then you just might want to make it a little bigger, and then bigger again, and then bigger until it's about the size of a dinner plate. Once more in this direction, and then we change direction. Start with the dinner plate. And then start to make the circle smaller. Smaller, till it becomes the size of a saucer again. And even smaller than that until the movement comes to a stop. Just checking the length into the spine, and the chin should now be parallel with the floor. We're going to come up into a kneeling position, but again it's up to you if that feels comfortable. With the knees under the shoulders, the knees under the hips I should say, and the shoulders above the hips. The arms are by our side, but we're going to bring them more into the centre, the palms facing in. Try and stretch through the arms so the fingertips point towards the floor. Inhale, float the arms up to shoulder height, open the palm towards the ceiling. Exhale, reach up. Inhale, and then exhale. So you can stick with this breathing pattern if that feels okay, or just breathe normally and fully, mobilizing the shoulders a little more now. But we also want to now get a stretch through the waist as we reach up towards the ceiling. Just getting a bit of rotation going on into the shoulder here as well. So we're warming up the shoulders deep inside to the stabilizing muscles. We've got two more of these. Please feel free to stop at any point during the session if anything feels uncomfortable for you. So lastly, allowing the arms to float down by our side, we're going to come into a child's pose stretch for our Tibetan Sun Salutation. Allow the arms to come behind, the palms facing up. So your torso is resting over your thighs. We're going to inhale as we come up. Float the arms up towards the ceiling and then take right over left. Come back down. Exhale. And then inhale. And now you're taking left over right. So as if you're giving yourself a hug. Don't think the glasses are going to last very much longer. I'll give it a go. So a Tibetan Sun Salutation is a really nice relaxing movement But we're also getting some mobility into the hips and into the knees. We're going to add a twist now. So as we come down, a little bit of a twist, taking the elbow towards the knee. Going down to the right with the twist and floating up. So I twist to mobilize the thoracic spine. We've got 2 more after this one. If you're not comfortable with the twist, of course, it is optional. This is our last one. We're going to finish at the top with a reach for the waist and then release down. We're going to come onto our backs now. I am going to take the glasses off, sorry. Coming onto our backs, starting with the front of the body today. Feet hip distance apart, lay down on the mat with your arms by your side. Bring the knees in line with the feet. Knees also in line with the hips. Lengthen to the spine. Stability into the shoulders and pelvis. Remember that option for the neutral or the imprint, and the engagement into the core. Float your fingers to temples. Take the elbows wide now to warm up the upper abdominals. With an inhale to prepare and an exhale as we come up, head and shoulders off the mat, looking towards the knees. Inhale to lower and exhale to lift. So we're drawing the bottom rib down towards the hip. The hips are staying still and the knees are staying still. So there's stability going on as well as movement. If you would like to stay with this movement just the way it is, you can. Otherwise, we're going to take it up and hold. Hold for 1 breath in and out. And then inhale to lower and same again. So taking it up, hold. 1 breath, and then release. If you feel any tension going on in the neck, support your head, and you can also take the tongue to the roof of your mouth, tuck it in behind the teeth to engage some more muscles into the neck. Keep the neck in line with the spine. 1 more time, taking it up and hold. And then release. Float the arms back down by our side in exactly the same setup position. Inhale to exhale, float 1 leg up to tabletop, keeping that stability in the pelvis. Inhale, exhale, float the other leg up to tabletop. Now for some single leg scoops. Inhale, exhale, scoop. So it's as if you're scooping air and then scoop it back down again, back to tabletop. Same on the other side. So you might want a little flex in the foot. That really helps to get that feeling of the scoop. Now, if you feel that you're losing control of the movement and you feel that your spine isn't stable, then take 1 foot back down and just do a single leg scoop on one side, up to 5 more times on each side, and then the same on the other. Otherwise, I'm going to change it now to the scoop up. I'm going to hold it, scoop the other leg up, hold it, and then lower and hold, relax the feet, and bring it back to tabletop. Same again. Scoop, hold, scoop, hold, relax the feet, lower, hold, and then bring it back in. So we're actually warming up the muscles in the lower abdominals. Relax the feet, bring the legs together so they've got support for each other. Hold. Twice more like this. And let's think about what's going on in the lower abdominal area. It should be flat. So we're using our stabilizing muscles to support the spine and support the weight of the legs. This area is flat. 1 more time. You might also feel some work going on into the front of the thigh. Relax the feet, bring the legs together and lower and hold. So we're only taking the legs as low as we can with that control. and then release. Float one leg down, then the other. Release the legs for a moment before we go into the Pilates single leg stretch. So bring the feet back into where they were. Bring the arms back down by our side. Set up your foundation, and when you're ready, inhale to exhale, float one leg up to tabletop, inhale to exhale and float the other leg up. And then inhale and exhale and peel the head and shoulders off the mat, taking hold of the back thigh, behind the thigh. We're going to draw that leg further in and extend the front leg away. And then inhale and exhale and then switch. So you've got that full extension through the legs. We've got stability in the upper body. So shoulders away from the ears, space under the chin, stability in the pelvis. Up to 7 more on each side. And again, like we did in the last routine, we can add some speed without losing quality of movement or stability. So just a couple more to each side. And then we bring it to a stop. Tabletop, lower the head and shoulders. Float one leg down, then the other, and if you need to, release out the legs. Coming up next is the yoga shoulder bridge, which is quite different to the Pilates shoulder bridge in its intention. So the intention here is to open up the front of the body. So you'll have your feet about a hip distance or maybe even a little bit wider. Walk the heels in so they're more close to the bum or the sit bones. And then just lift your toes and place them back down on the mat. With the arms by our side. So we're still maintaining to set it up with the length in the spine, the engagement into the core, stability. And then inhale, and as we exhale, we peel off the mat. Now we're coming up as high as we feel we can right now. So we're opening up the front of the body, so higher than we would in the Pilates shoulder bridge. Inhale, exhale, and lower. So we're starting with repetitions to mobilize the spine. And it may be that you want to stay with this. This might be what feels right for your body today. Mobilizing the spine, almost like giving it a little bit of a massage. Or on the next one, we're going to hold it up at the top. So, from here, either holding it like this up to 5 breaths, or we can start to walk in through the shoulders. Start to bring the arms together, clasping the fingers, and maybe walking the feet further in. So we get more now of that ballooning and that opening through the front of the body. There's a strong contraction going on into the back of the body. Space under the chin, but the chin is slightly tucked to protect the neck. And it's really important here that we don't move the head at all. So just listening or stopping to have a look and then resetting again. One more breath, inhale, exhale. And on the next inhale, I'm going to release the arms. I'm going to roll down vertebrae by vertebrae and just draw the knees in towards the chest, maybe holding onto the front of the shin or the back of the thigh, and just a little release side to side. We've got one more exercise here for the front of the body. So we're bringing ourselves back down onto the mat, but this time laying in a really strong position, fully supine, with the arms by our side and the palms right in close. Try and get that length into the spine. You can relax the feet or gently point the toes. Feel that engagement through the front of the body now, thighs, core. Draw the shoulders back and down to open up through the chest. And then inhale. And as we exhale, we peel the head and shoulders off the mat and we're looking towards the feet. If you feel tension in your neck, again, options, support the head or use the tongue. to engage into the neck. Holding this for up to 10 breaths. Now, if you want to make it more challenging, on the next inhale, lift the front leg. So you've now got more engagement into that leg. And either just swap legs with each breath, or you're going to hold both legs. Again, make sure you're not doming. Draw the core in. And hold. So shoulders away from the ears, space under the chin, abdominals working hard. So we're not gripping with the hands, they're just by our sides. One more breath, release in a controlled way, one leg, then the other, and then the head and shoulders. Release the head and neck if you need to. We're going to now come onto our side. I'm going to start with a static Pilates side kick, which is great really for preparing us for what we're going to do coming up. So, straight line, head supported, legs in line with the torso, hips stacked, length, stability, engagement into the core, free hand on top or in front of you on the mat. We're going to inhale, and as we exhale, float the top leg up to hip height. Inhale and exhale, bring the bottom leg up to join it. And all we're going to do is just hold this for up to 5 breaths. So we're really just getting that engagement through the core, the internal waist muscles to support the legs. So, went for a little bit of a wobble there, loss of concentration. One more breath, and then lower bottom, and then top leg. We're going to bend the bottom leg now, just to give us a little bit more stability, because the purpose of the next exercise, well, it's not really an exercise, it's a stretch for the hips and the front of the thigh. So it's a bit of a variation on this standing dancer pose, if we were standing up in yoga. So we're going to bend that top leg. Now, if you find it difficult to reach your foot, bring the knee in towards you, so you're bringing the foot a little closer. Take hold of the outside, inside the foot, or the outside of the ankle, and then bringing the knees back in line with each other. Let's start with the basic quad stretch. Push through the hips, knee will come forward, bring it back in line. You can just hold this, just be comfortable here, breathing into the stretch up to 5 breaths, or we can take the knee further back, so it's becoming more like the dancer pose. So it's almost like we're making a bow shape with the body, drawing the knee back, really opening up into that front hip. This is going to help us when we come down onto our front. There's activation in the foot now. So we've got activation into the glutes to open up the hip, and also into the hamstrings to open up the quads. And then release. From here, we're going to come up onto our knees into a modified floating half moon. It's a bit like the Pilates side kick. I guess that's where Joseph Pilates got his idea from. So the knees under the hips, a hand under the shoulder, take that leg out so it's in line with the torso, reach the fingertips up towards the ceiling for the floating half moon. We're going to inhale as we float that leg up. It's just as high as feels comfortable. Look up to the hand, reaching up towards the ceiling, or if your neck is not comfortable with that, just look down towards the hand. But just have your head in a neutral position. So a really nice reach up, extending the leg, pointing the toe, making sure our body is fairly square. So if we were leaning up against a wall, we would be flush against the wall. So we're not leaning forwards. The knee is above the hip, reaching up. One more breath. Inhale. And then exhale. Float the leg down, release. Come onto the knees and come onto the other side. Starting with Pilates side kick. So we've got the length again. Stability. I'm not very stable on my side today, I don't know why. I'm going to just place my hands in front of me on the mat, just to make sure I don't wobble around. So lengthen, stabilize, engage into the core. Inhale, exhale, hip height so it doesn't throw us off balance. Inhale, exhale up to join it. So we're finding that length first of all, and that strength into the core, into the muscles in the waist. Continuing to breathe, that's really important here. Inhale through the nose, out through the mouth or out through the nose. And then after the last breath, lower bottom leg, top leg, bend the bottom leg, take hold of the foot, remember to lift the knee up towards the chest if you need to, hold of the ankle or the outside of the foot or the inside. If you need to use a strap, yoga strap, you can. So find the stretch first of all into the quad, pushing through the hips, bringing the knees together, just as we would if we were standing up. Hold this for up to 5 breaths, or start to take it back behind and really start to open through the chest as well. So you want to feel a bit of opposition going on. So you're pushing the foot away from the hand to really try and get that deeper connection into the back of the leg to open up the front of the hip. Engage into the glutes. And then release. Push yourself up, come onto your knees. Knees under the hips, hand under the shoulder, leg up in line with the torso. Float the hand up when you feel ready. Inhaling and lifting that leg. Soften that elbow on that supporting hand and spread the fingers. And look up. Just check that fingertips pointing straight up to the ceiling. If your neck's not comfortable there, look down or just hold it in a neutral position. A couple more breaths. On the next inhale, release. We're now going to come onto our front. We've got a version of the Yoga Locust. So on our front, we've got our hands by our side. Turning the palms up towards the ceiling to draw the shoulders back and down. Legs hip distance apart. Lengthen, stabilize. We are going to use the yoga breathing pattern here. So once we feel set, engagement into the core, maybe the belly button just lifting off the mat, we're going to inhale. As we come up, peeling the breastbone off the mat, looking down towards the mat, pushing and spreading the fingers away. And then inhale. Exhale, I should say, to lower. Inhale. Exhale. Keep the neck in a neutral position. And if this is where you feel comfortable today, leave the legs exactly where they are. Or on the next one, you start with single leg. The leg comes up. Back leg. If you want to go for both legs, try and extend through the whole of the body. Lengthening the legs, lengthening the arms. A strong connection into the back of the body. And we've got 3 more if you can. Preparation for our last exercise, which is the one after next. So this is our last locust. And then release. Hands under the shoulders. Take a push back into child's pose. Rest the bum. Relax the arms, because we want to get the arms fairly recovered for our next exercise, which is a high plank variation. So release, stretch if you need to. And whenever you're ready, inhale, come into the 4-point kneeling position or the modified plank. If you're in either of these positions, you're just going to hold it for up to 10 breaths. I'm just going to bring myself forward a bit. If you want to go into the full high plank, tuck the toes under. Inhale and come up into full plank. Maybe adjust the feet if you need to. So soften into the elbows, spreading into the fingers, drawing the shoulder blades away from the ears, pulling up and into the knees and pushing the heels away. Downward facing dog combination. Inhale, exhale, downward facing dog, bend the knees if you need to. Inhale to plank. Exhale, downward facing dog, pushing the chest towards the thighs, bending the knees if you need to. Your heels going towards the mat, but not necessarily touching the mat. Now after this next one, we're going into the twisted dog. So we go for plank, and as we come up into the downward facing dog, release your back hand, tap it towards your front foot. Same on the other side. Now it may be that you don't want to reach for the foot, so you can maybe just tap the knee or even the thigh. So it's a smaller movement. Otherwise, plank, tap, plank, tap. Make sure you're coming back to that strong plank position. 2 more to each side. So working through the waist, working into the core. Last one, plank, hold, and then release. Little pull back, and a release down onto our fronts. For the half bow, which is what we've been building up to. So bring the hands in front, arms in front, bend your front leg, use a strap if you need to, or go back to the locust if this isn't for you today. Hold on to the ankle, make sure the knees stay hip distance apart, or hold on to the toes, inside or outside of the foot. Inhale as we peel off, using your back arm, trying to get that opposition, pushing the foot into the hand, and looking down towards the mat. One more breath, and then inhale and release, and we'll do the same on the other side. Set it up, inhale to left, and again we're going to hold this for up to 5 breaths. Look away towards your hand, using that hand again for a little bit of opposition, drawing the shoulders down. On the next inhale, we release, and then we push back into child's pose. Our work is done. Relax. Bum towards the heels, arms out in front. Inhale. Exhale. Just relax down to the mat. Relax the head. Relax the shoulders. Allow your breath just to settle and be comfortable. Find a really nice stretch into the front of the shoulder. You can even start to move this around a little. And then release, roll up. We're going to bring ourselves into a position for the hurdler stretch. So right knee bent in front, left foot behind. If this isn't comfortable, you can lie on your back and do the thread needle hip stretch, where you draw the knee in towards the chest with one foot over onto the thigh. Otherwise, we're going to tip from the hip, gripping the hands in front. Inhale and exhale. So you feel that stretch around the hip. Try not to flop over, otherwise we will lose this stretch. And then from here, start to release. Come onto the back knee and bring that front leg further in front for a hamstring stretch. Flex the foot. Inhale, exhale, tip from the hip. So you feel that stretch into the back of the thigh. Use the breath, allowing the muscles to relax. Inhale to release into a hip stretch for that front hip. Dropping down but keeping that front knee in alignment with the front foot round about the middle of the foot. Squeeze into the bum. Inhale and exhale, add a twist. I do like this stretch because it really stretches around the torso and into the front of that hip. And then release. How's the stretch on the other side? So left foot in front. I've got one more prop. I bought this as well. It jingles. I didn't put it on because it's quite loose. I've got quite a small pea-sized head. So I'll wear it until it falls off. So 90-90, tip, stretch around the hip. Use the breath, inhale, exhale. This is a great stretch for the muscles on the outside of the hip. And then release. Coming up onto that back knee, or just bring yourself around any way that you find comfortable. Tip from the hip, find the stretch into the hamstring. Just allow that muscle to relax and lengthen. And then inhale, hip flexor stretch. Align the knee, drop into that back hip, little squeeze into the bum. And when you're ready, twist. Have a look round if you can. Use the other hand to draw yourself round if that's comfortable. And then release. We're going to finish where we started, in a kneeling position. Let's roll the shoulders and take a stretch with the chest, clasping the hands behind or placing your hands down into the base of your spine. And then release, clasp the fingers, clasp the hands, tuck the chin, roll round, separating the shoulder blades. And then release. Sun's come out. Thank you so much for joining me today, for your time, your effort, your energy. Hope you have the best Christmas you can in the circumstances. We'll just carry on. All the very best for a happy and healthy new year, and for a much, much better 2021. I will hopefully see you again, one more video before the end of the festive season, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be back together again sometime in January. Enjoy the rest of your day.